Hello and welcome to episode 7 of the Wight Wanderers Disused Railways of the Isle of Wight. I'm Eleanor.
And I'm Jack, and today for the penultimate episode of the series we are in Sandown and we are doing
The Sandown to Newport line.
Of the list of 40 stations on the Isle of Wight, we have done 29 so far. We have 11 left to go, and we are going to visit quite a few of those today. So let's crack on.
Much like the freshwater branch, the tale of the Sandown and Newport line is of financial hardship. The construction process, which took 3 years between 1872 and 1875, resulted in the company owing a vast amount of money. Ironically, it was opened by the Isle of Wight Newport Junction Railway. An unfortunate name, as for the first 4 years of its operation, the line didn't even connect into Newport, instead terminating at a temporary station on the outskirts of town near Pan Lane. For the most part, the railway followed the course of the Eastern Yard and had 6 intermediate stations, passing through Alvaston, Newchurch, then Horringford, before swinging northwest via Merston, Blackwater and Shide. In 1869, the company opened a viaduct over Coppins Bridge, allowing the line to eventually reach Newport Station. Sandown Station was opened in 1864 by the Isle of Wight Railway, a good decade before the line to Newport was even constructed. One defining characteristic of the station was its high-standing signal box on platform 2. When the canopy was taken down though, the signal box gained a very strange appearance. Towering over the station, it would sway in the high winds, making it extremely dangerous and inevitably leading to its demolition. Platform 3, which once accommodated the Newport trains, is still in situ, although used only for storage. From the station looking north, you can just about see where the railway would have ran, curving sharply to the west before joining the course of the Eastern Yard. West of the station, part of the railway embankment can still be seen, now severed by modern housing development and a holiday campsite.
We are now just alongside the holiday camp. This is where you can start walking the first part of the trackbed towards Newport.
The first point of interest is the waterworks siding at Langwood Lane, used for goods traffic and storage. The site is now a water treatment plant, but probably more recognisable as the start of the Walk the Wight Flat Walk, an annual charity-run walking event. From here, most of the trackbed is walkable all the way to Newport, and there are many railway relics to see.
Even though the line shut in the mid-50s, a fair few of the station buildings still remain in good condition and have been converted into private dwellings. A prime example of this is the first station on the line, which is Alvaston.
Alvaston Station was built a good couple of years before the line opened in 1875. The original platform was soon replaced and a goods siding added. Cut to the present day, and the station has been restored as a private dwelling, with periodical features and information boards with great facts about the railway's past. From here, the railway continued to border the river at low elevation, which would frequently result in flooding along the line. The Southern Railway tried to rectify the issue in 1924 by replacing many of the railway's wooden structure bridges with steel and concrete. It is not clear though whether this made much of a difference.
Now, even though the railway connected two major towns on the Isle of Wight, it passed through secluded marshlands just south of the Middle Downs. Because of this, the railway relied mainly on goods traffic, which is why every intermediate station on the line had a goods siding. That alone, though, was not enough, and by 1885, just 10 years after the line had opened, the company had already gone bankrupt.
The company struggled on for another 2 years until 1887, when it was decided that the line would be merged with the already existing Cowes and Newport Railway and the Ryde and Newport Railway to form one company, the Isle of Wight Central. This merging aided goods connections to and from Medina Wharf and the cement mills, but did little to boost the passenger numbers. The railway continued to struggle to turn over a profit, and when the Southern Railway took over in 1923, they took action, sacking station masters and downgraded some stations to halts. The next station on the line is Newchurch, a little village situated some distance away from the station, up on top of a steep hill. Even for the small amount of people that actually lived here at the time of the railway, it would have been somewhat of an inconvenience to use. The station itself had many of its original buildings replaced by timber ones in 1934, presumably to save costs. The station building did survive though, until an unlucky encounter with a World War II bomb. As a result, nothing is left of the station but a small piece of the platform ramp.
Now this part of the walk actually uses part of the trail called...
The Red Squirrel Trail.
See, she can actually say it, I can't actually say it. Red Squirrel... There you go. But anyway, I was saying, so this part of the walk uses the trackbed for the Red Squirrel Trail. And this Red Squirrel Trail also uses the trackbed for the Cowes to Newport line. It also loops around at Merston and uses the trackbed from Wroxall to Shanklin. So if you want to walk 3 abandoned railway lines on the Isle of Wight in one go, then this is the trail for you, the Red Squirrel Trail.
Well done.
Thank you.
Anyway, Horringford is our next stop, situated on the very busy A3056, the main road between Sandown and Newport. The station building has once again been lovingly preserved, although from here we have to take a short detour off the trackbed past a jungle of bamboo to rejoin the alignment the other side of the station.
One thing that does strike you about this part of the line between Horringford and Merston is how steep it is, especially this section leading up to East Lane. Certainly trains would have struggled a bit on a wet autumn day, that's for sure. But luckily for us, so far, the rain has held off, even though I just felt another one then. We just felt a few drops of rain, didn't we?
East Lane Bridge is the only overbridge left on the line, still in great condition. Though the view to the east is obscured somewhat, we can roughly compare it to this great shot of a train climbing the steep gradient that we've just walked up. The island platform at Merston has luckily been preserved, with recent additions to the site being the station sign and a shelter displaying an impressive amount of information about its history. Another line once branched off from here. Seen clearly in this photo facing east, we can see the railway we've just walked up curving left. Curving right though is the long defunct line to Whitwell and Ventnor West, a railway we will be tracing in the next episode. As we head out of Merston, inevitably it starts to rain. So let's continue with the troubled story of this railway. Now where was I?
Apart from the odd goods traffic, the railway was still making little to no profit at all. Even the addition of the Ventnor West branch in 1900 did little to aid the company's financial woes. But then finally, 50 years after the railway opened, a glimmer of hope.
In 1930, the Southern Railway started experimenting with through trains, faster services stopping only at essential stations. In 1933, the company commissioned the Tourist, a train that would run from Ventnor in the south over the Sandown and Newport line, where it would then join the Freshwater line heading west, completing the journey from Ventnor to Freshwater in a mere hour and a quarter. The train was a massive hit, and the company promoted it as their superior timetabled service.
The tourist did exactly what it was supposed to do, connecting the seaside towns of Ventnor, Sandown and Shanklin with the tourist hotspots of Freshwater and Yarmouth out in the west. This lasted about 30 years, until the closure of the Freshwater line in 1953. Suddenly, the tourist had nowhere to go, and it was ousted from the timetable. Once again, the Sandown to Newport line lost much of its convenience.
The next station on the line is Blackwater. Much like Horringford and Alvaston, it has been lovingly restored and has also had an extension added to the side of the building. Blackwater was much like the other stations on the line, rural, seldom used by passengers, and had a good siding. Perhaps a small distinguishable feature being its collection of enamel advertising boards, displayed at the station in the peacetime between the two world wars.
We're now only a mile or so from the station at Shide on the outskirts of Newport. Shide was an interesting station. It was little used, but it had a vital connection to the wharf at Medina and the cement mills.
As we approach the outer reaches of Newport, Shide Station comes into view, though where it stood may not be that obvious. Next to Bombay Palace is the River Yar and the warehouse, which was built on the location of the station building. The alignment of the trackbed is also more obvious than you might think, as after the railway was dismantled, the river was rerouted along the course of the line. To find evidence of Shide's connection with the cement mills at Medina, we have to head over the road and up a steep hill. Hidden in the trees along Burnt House Lane is a substantial chalk quarry. This vast industrial landscape was once linked directly to the line on the opposite side of the road, with wagons of chalk being propelled by gravity through a short, narrow tunnel where it would then join the sidings at Shide Station. This continued right up until the cement production ceased at the mill during World War II, and the chalk pit at Shide became obsolete. Heading back down the trackbed, the line now enters the heavily built up areas surrounding Newport. Little to nothing remains of the railway here, but hidden in the undergrowth opposite the now dilapidated Newport football ground is a reminder that a line once passed through this now overbuilt and over-trafficated corner of the island's capital. It's difficult to place exactly where the company's original terminus at Pan Lane would have sat, but judging by the proximity of the railway to Pan Mill on this map, it probably would have stood about here.
We are standing on the footbridge over St George's Way between the cinema and the car park. You have Pan Lane in the distance over there, that's where the terminus was, and after they got the permission to extend the line into Newport, this would have been the alignment of it running up here and continuing north towards Newport.
From here, the railway was carried by a viaduct across Coppins Bridge. It joined the Ryde Newport Railway Viaduct about here, allowing trains to eventually run into Newport Station. For the railway itself, its history of low passenger numbers continued until its inevitable demise in 1956. If it had have stayed open though, it could have finally found practicality, as the suburbs of Newport and Sandown continue to grow to this day, and the A3020, the main road used between Sandown and Newport, is now infamous for its congestion. Perhaps then, the Sandown to Newport line was just too ahead of its time to be of any use, but that we will never know.
For the third and final time, we finish an episode here in Newport, once the centre of the island's railway infrastructure, now devoid of any railway infrastructure whatsoever. As you can see, the light is dying. We have run out of time, so we'll leave it there. Next time we are walking the last remaining railway of the series, and it's a very confusing one. It's a line from nowhere through nowhere to a town that already had a station.
And it has a tunnel.
And it does have a tunnel as well, so that'd be interesting. So we'll see you next time for the last episode of the series, episode 8.
Take care.
and all the best.